On today's game of weld or no weld, we're definitely going to be welding. Well, sort of. Well, I'm not going to be welding. But Pat is. I need to weld that hole on the side of the boat there. But obviously to do that, I need to sell a welder to Pat and show him how to weld his boat. Now that we've got the new welder, we don't need our little MIG welder, so we've passed that along to Pat. He's got a nice little tug that's over in the marina at the moment. He's got a wee bit of rust in one part of it that he needs to fix just under one of the windows. So we're getting this old welder put back together so that we can show him how to use it. Look, here's my model. Look at that. So today is Learn to Weld Day. We've taken a sunken fishing trawler and converted her to a community-funded expedition and research boat crewed by volunteers from around the world.
Because life's too short not to fight for your dream.
That's looking really good. So let's buff it off, because then you can start to see your technique. We can start to fine tune that. We're using a flux core wire, that's why we're cleaning it with a grinder.
Look at that!
You're doing pretty bloody awesome. So see how you're nice and consistent, like between your ridges,
Yeah.
you got quite consistent sort of gap. So you're obviously doing a nice consistent swirl. You only see how you're coming along here and then it goes in a bit.
Yeah.
That's where you've obviously climbed a bit and come down again.
That's where I've consciously shifted position.
Yeah, right. There's a thing called ABC, always be comfortable. So I like to, if I'm doing that, I would set up like this so that I can run it in one bead without having to shift my hips or whatever. So it's quite good to do sort of like sometimes you can use your thumbs and your fingers and stuff, but
And you can touch any of this, there's no problem with the heat, but there's no get electrocuted.
no, nothing. No, none of that's an issue. Keep yourself just nice and comfortable. And one thing you can do before you start your run is you can go, okay, I'm going to start here, I'm going to finish here. So you can go, oh yeah, cool, I can do the whole run without having to reposition. So it's quite common to see welders set themselves up and do that a couple of times.
And you can just keep going as long as I notice people do it in sort of like sections.
Yep. So you can do stop-start. So this would be what we call a stop, and then obviously you'd start again. So the trick is that you want to start, you don't want to start like in there, you want to start back here.
Like we did back here on
exactly.
the track.
Yeah, exactly. And you can sort of see how it's tied in quite nice. Like it just looks like part of the weld.
Yeah.
If you're being anally retentive about it, you would get a grinding disc, and you would basically V that out down there a little bit and dig a little bit of that weld out, and then you'd come back over top of it again. For your repairs you don't need to, you're not talking pressure vessels or anything like that. All you have to do is start back over top and then carry on. But that's good, keep going, that's really good. When you notice it doing that, when you notice it doing that sort of, just go a little bit closer and also slow down, because it's normally you're coming out of the molten puddle. You're going a bit too far forward. So just slow down a bit, get your stick out just a little bit less, and stay in that molten puddle a bit more. So let's just clean that off and we'll have a gander.
Too high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's gone too high. So you can see here you're sort of even, and then up here you're obviously going a bit higher. So you need to sort of watch, try and keep your eye on the molten puddle, and you want to have
how will you know whether you're going too fast or too slow? Going too slow, what will happen?
Let's do it and show you. I'm just going to weld and have a look at me. I'm going to do both. So just come over this side and you'll see the puddle. So I'm going to go too slow. Okay, ready?
If you've ever seen Dame tap twice after welding, it's because he's removing all the weld splatter inside the gun.
See how I got a big bulbous shitty
puddle, yeah.
Like there's just far too much metal, not enough travel. Yeah, so that's too slow there, so let's go too far. See how it's just not even melting. It's just sitting on top like a bit of bird shit.
And it doesn't matter about thickness, your speed technique is generally for all sizes. And
pretty much, so you'll keep a consistent speed and technique and all that sort of stuff, and you'll just go up and down in the power depending on thickness.
what's adjusting the power thing's going to do?
So it's basically amperage and wire feed. So if you've got thinner metal, you'll back off your amperage and you'll slow down your wire feed, and it just won't put so much horsepower into the material, so it's not going to melt through, it's not going to do anything crazy, so you'll still keep your consistent technique. And then if you're welding 12mm heavy gauge stuff, you'll wind it fucking right up, and you'll still
generally can follow the
that's like
code.
So I've been welding for a few years with this machine, and I know that I can tweak them a little bit from those settings, but those settings are like 90% of perfect, you know.
Well, you never so good.
Yeah, and it's just a great little chart to start with, because it puts you so close to being bang on. You don't have to fuck around with it, you know. do that test where you go through and see if you can, before you pull the trigger, yeah, go through and, so see how you're kind of out in the open, you're freehanding a bit. Can I just suggest something? Put it up there, so you've got something to rest on. And what I'd suggest is put one arm down like that and the other like that. Now that Pat's got a basic idea of how to glue metal together, we're moving on to probably the hardest weld that you can do with a MIG welder, vertical up. To weld vertical up in a strong way, you need a very specific pattern. So you're using this red line here as a guide. Jody from Welding Tips and Tricks will show you the exact movement you're doing with the gun. So you're keeping that stick out nice and short, and you're moving in a Christmas tree fashion from left to right, then climbing left to right, and you're following this pattern all the way up the weld. You end up with a really beautiful weld. So watch some of these welding shots in action. This is direct from his channel, so if you're learning to weld, I really recommend checking it out. See how he's staying in the molten puddle the whole time. The wire never leaves that red hot puddle, and you're just tracing the very front edge. You're doing the same pattern over and over, and you're left with a beautiful weld on the outside. You can see those beads are really stacked up, really crisp and nice. That's what you're after, real consistent. So just keep following that wire on the very front of the puddle. Just keep climbing, and gravity will do the rest.
I completely forgot which way I was going.
It's not the worst weld for a first vertical up. So you want to give yourself slightly more stick out, maybe angled down ever so slightly, just so you've got a wee bit more room, and give yourself enough room to bounce around. If you're jamming it hard in there, you won't be able to get your movement properly. Yeah. So just give yourself just enough room to...
I completely forgot the...
It's alright, no, you're right, just have another go at the top there. Go back to your basics before you pull the trigger. Go back to your basics and make sure you got like your gun angle, so you got 45 off each face, and then you got about a 10% tilt. Just maybe dry practice that triangle pattern, Christmas tree pattern.
Cross, up, down. With a cross, up, down.
Up, down to the left, across to the right, up, and you just go over and over. Getting better. The technique's good, you're just going a bit slow, and that's why it's balled up like it has. Balling up's caused by running too slow on a vertical up, and gravity tries to pull the molten metal back down. But that's okay, the technique is the thing that matters more than speed. So, let's get all the shit out of it. Okay, so, technique, start in the middle and you go out, up, climb, back down, across.
The slide, over the slide, climb, over the slide, climb.
Try don't exaggerate the movement so much. So you had the right technique, but you're moving probably twice as much as you need to. You want to try and stay in the molten puddle. It'll be a triangle shape because of what weld you're doing. And you want to try and basically just work your way around that molten puddle. You don't really want to jump out of it because then you'll get that juk rubbish, you know. So make sure you're comfy, and then if you need to do dry runs, just do it. Whatever you need to do to feel right. So it's getting more consistent. See how you're bunched up over here? That's just travelling too slow. Once you get them fast, like that there's two layers actually, it's two welds, one on top of the other. Once you get them fast, they'll be nice and tight and consistent. Right, and then you can work on speed as you go. Probably a touch fast overall, but that was pretty good. So, yeah, see how, so you got nice sort of width and everything, but see how you haven't quite got fusion on this side? That's because you're probably going a little bit fast. So nice tight little zigs, but just slow it down slightly.
That's the only way to do.
Yeah. Vertical up. Yeah, at least you want to tip the crawl over. There are other options. So let's do this bit. The technique looked good. It looks like you're angled too far this way. You want to come out ever so slightly, so you want to probably have your gun about there. So you've got enough room to do the wiggle you want. And you can see the weld. So I'll show you here, right? See how you can see when I've got that much stick out, I can see it both the whole time, yeah. Give yourself a touch more stick out. Yep, just got to be it. Doing much better. We just need to focus on which side's getting heat, whether it's like the left or the right plate. Let's give it a clean up and see how you did. Now you can see where stuff's happening. So you can see you've got great fusion over here, but you've got lateral fusion there. So you can see you've got the three folders that's here and then it's the cavity. That's because your wire is, it should be 45 and you're bouncing nicely between them, but it's obviously more towards this plate than this plate. So he's learned verticals and horizontals and stuff.
Lovely.
We've done a whole bunch of horizontals. We're doing some vertical ups, teaching him techniques on vertical up.
He's getting the hang of it. A few more weeks, he should be.
Alright.
It's hard, so much patience, I think, after having it.
Yes.
Showing
You do
him
have to, don't you?
different types of welds.
It's so surprising, it's got to kind of look a little bit ugly
Yeah,
in a way to be really like it's going to get penetration.
So that weld,
This
even
is lovely.
though half of it's rubbish and half of it's not glued on or whatever,
Yeah.
will be stronger than that vertical down.
Yeah.
I've now got that. With that 45, it's going on both sides there. Better,
Good.
so.
Yeah, good. If you've done that and it's in your boat and you need it to be there, you can actually just grind all of that off and do another one over top of it. Do it properly over top. So don't ever stress about grinding your welds out. So give yourself a bit of stick out. Don't want to bind up on the. Yep, that's good. Come over onto the right plate more. Not so much with your angles, just with your travel. Just move over to that plate a touch more. You're favouring the left plate, basically. You're doing good, you're just favouring this plate more than this one. So you need probably what I'd suggest is instead of staying here, I'd come around this way more so that you've got more room to be a bit freer with the gun. That was a brilliant weld, look at that.
That felt better.
Yeah.
I concentrated more.
Yeah. So what I noticed was when you were going up, I'm not sure if you could, but I could certainly see that you were staying in the puddle the whole time. You weren't jumping out of the puddle, you know. So you were staying in the puddle, and you were really consistent, like with your movement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the weld just looks really good, like really good weld. If the tip's loose, it'll arc out. Yeah, look at that, finger tight. So sometimes it'll arc out. As all the workpiece gets hot, all the threads open up and gets a bit loose, and that can be a problem. So you ever hear that? That's one of the things that can cause it. Give yourself enough stick out so you can move. Favouring the left plate. That's really good. You're favouring the left plate.
You're doing that. Why? Because I'm coming in like this. I should be like that.
I would give yourself more stick out, and then look down a little bit on your weld. Make sure you can see where the wire's connecting. You want to make sure that you can clearly see your wire the whole time, and you want to make sure that you're spending an equal amount of time on both plates. So stay conscious of what plate you're on, and stay conscious. Say 1 second, 1 second, jump. 1 second, 1 second, jump. You notice that blip thing? Slow down a bit as you're coming out of the puddle.
When I concentrate hard, I know it's better, but it's just, you've got to concentrate all the
It took
time.
me 2 years to do this, so what you're doing in a day is like fucking rocket speed compared to what I did. Yeah, so I'm going to clean this up, we'll do one up beside it. So you're getting pretty good though, like you're starting to see that you're getting a relatively consistent beat. So we just need to like clean up the technique. Let's get better. See how you can just tell that it's more structurally sound than any of these. Yeah.
Again, concentration, just...
Yeah. And the beauty is you've only got a small patch to do, so you can concentrate that whole time to do it.
Slow down a little.
Yeah. So now that Pat's got a good idea as to how to weld, I've shown him vertical up, horizontals, what else we done? Butt joints, T-joints, that sort of thing. So all of the different things he's going to be doing on his boat to repair the rust damage that he's got. He's good to go with that welder. I'm going to get stuck into the side of the boat now and make sure that we've got no more holes in the side. In the meantime, Birk is organising our sight glass in the, starboard tank, starboard rear tank, and then we'll start transferring the fuel across into that. We've got another 600 litres downstairs that we're polishing, so we need to obviously do something with that, move that across once we've had that tested. Jess is flat out editing another episode. Carlos has been organising a storm in the kitchen so that we're starting to get ready for Margaux, so we'll have 5 people, so he's been organising so he can smash food out, and then he's actually been out helping us on the boat as well. So yeah, bucket loads going on. Birk's swapping a bung over. We've got a stainless bung in this tank and it's just not holding up tight enough, so we have a tapered bronze bung that we're going to be putting into this. So once this stainless one's out, we can get the right sealant onto the bronze bung and get it in there. I don't think he expected that. So a quick test fit to make sure it's going to work and the thread's correct. We're using a marine bronze tapered thread bung here. And a real good clean up with some brake clean just to make sure we've got no diesel or rubbish in the threads. Give everything a really good wipe up because we want the thread sealant to set nicely. We're using a Loctite thread sealant on this. And the official torque setting for this bung is FT, or crikey, that's very tight, and you can see that he's getting there with a bar on the end of a 2-foot spanner. Click click. So Carlos is making all the noise in the world and we're up the front here trying to work. So Birk's putting some wiring for some lights into this room. I'm trying to build this tiny little thing here. I'll show you where it goes. I'm going to shimmy down. So we need a ladder to get up in here, and it sits. There we go. If I get my lovely assistant to hold it, look at that. So that's the plan, is to make it sit like that. We're going to make it slightly thicker because I don't know if this is human rated. But yeah, I think 16mm stainless welding rods will be fine. There's heaps going on this morning, so I'm up the front of the boat. Carlos is in the anchor room bashing off some of the rust and some of the loose paint. There's a wee bit of flaky loose paint in there. We're going to get rid of that so that we can get in there, give it a sand, give it a water blast, a real good clean up, and then we're going to put some new paint down in that room. While that's happening, Birk is running around the boat. There's about 50 jobs that he's doing, so air compressors, some wiring, fuel bungs, there's a bunch of stuff, putting in a bench. While that's taking place, I'm doing some stainless work. I've got to build a step so that Margaux, our new crew, can climb up into the top bunk easy and put a handle on the wall, that sort of thing. And Jess is out doing a parts run. Margaux is arriving in about maybe 4 or 5 hours, something like that. We're trying to get the boat ready so that we're all good to go when she gets here. I forget how abrasively loud that 1 grit sander is when I haven't used it for a while. It just resonates through the whole boat. I need a couple of tags so that the ladder can screw onto the bed, so I'm using some stainless plate. Carlos is getting any loose and flaking paint out of the anchor room so that we can get a full paint job done in this room.
Being slow.
There we go, looking along the length, you can see the marks that I'm putting on this bar. That's where I have to bend it. In the Bendermatic 3000. Introducing the Bendermatic 3000. This is a steel bender that I designed and built about maybe 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. It'll bend up to 16mm stainless solid bar. I use it all the time for little bits and pieces, handles, things that go around, cutouts on the hull, all that sort of stuff where I want to stop chafage and I want to have a nice, smooth, clean edge for ropes and things like that to go over. Down you go. Down you go. Just shaving the rust off. Down you go. There you go. You can do it. Good boy. Good boy. Oh, there we go. Look at that. And you can do it. It's still lined up. It is now. Sometimes I need to put a bar on it to absolutely haul on the end of this. See how we go. So it's kind of awkward because the steers are right here. So normally you just put a big pipe on the end and swing around, but you know, steers. course you would hit that. When you don't use this thing for a while, the rust sort of tends to jam things up, so you kind of got to manhandle it a bit. So I need to make sure that the two bends are parallel, so I'm clamping everything down to this flat surface here, so that this part of the bend here is going to be exactly the same when I bring this other part around. They won't be twisted and sort of cockeyed. So by clamping it, I make sure that everything's nice and square and we can get into it. Done. There we go, look at that. So this bender creates a 32mm radius in each corner. It's a beautiful, lovely radius. It doesn't dimple it in or anything. And given that it was just built out of some old scrap, there you go, you can kind of see it in pieces. This is the design of the bender. You got a 32mm bar here, 16mm stock, just flat bar here, bit of plate, bit of box section to hold it all in, and then the bar itself sits in this gap here and gets pulled around the radius of this pin here. This end here is what does the pulling, so it's this flat piece here that basically drags it all the way around. So it's a fairly brutal bender. I can only do solid bar, I can't do hollow bar because hollow bar will just crush and dimple and be awful, but it makes a lovely job of solid bar. Right, that's what I'm left with. So when it's put on its bolting in position, it'll hang off from the lee board about yay far. We've got to make a couple little tags. So I've got these guys here. They're not cut square because, well, I free-handed them, but I'm going to square them up now. So I've made these two little brackets you can see here. So you can see I've countersunk the actual screw down into the material. So when the screw is in it, the heads are nice and flush. So there's nothing to grab your clothes on. What I need to do is sit this up like that, tuck that in nicely on the side and TIG these in, one on either side. Right, pretty chuffed with that. Plenty going on. We're doing sexy washing. Oh, shooting. Shirts off washing.
Shirt off his back, literally.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Birk is building the world's biggest lock on the door. There we go, this is going on the studio. We're putting that in. And while that's going on, I'm going to put the leg stand thing ladder of doom into this bunk. This is about as awkward as it looks.
you want to burn it or?
Yeah, I'm trying to burn it in a little bit. Okay. Ha!
You want to demonstrate it?
But oh yeah! Nice. Yeah, that makes a treat. Easy done.
Awesome.
As graceful as a swan.
The final crew member has arrived for launch. Margaux is with us for 3 months. She's come over from doing some work in New Zealand and travelling around over there. She's originally from France and she's going to be helping us launch. Welcome, Margaux.
Organising ourselves for a trip to the beach. Got the laser over the back ready to go. The guys are just stringing up the kayaks. Dinghy's in. Jess is prepped. Hoi! Hoi!
Hey, ready to go. Very slow.
The pedals move, so if you want them longer, you can adjust them right here. Right, you pedal, you twist it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, just like this.
Back.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
This is your job.
That thing's going away.
That's awesome.
Everyone's been amazing supporting me to come on these excursions. I've had a little bit of problem with my lungs, so that's why I'm wearing the arm sling. It really helps support the lung. Nothing too big, and I go very gently and everyone helps me. Thanks, guys.
I got that, but it was so loud with the outboard, I still can't actually understand a word you're saying. Just going to the end.
Yeah. We've crossed the river to this little sandy beach. You can just walk over the stones and you're on a big beach.
Birk's pulling in the laser and we've just realised how incredibly shallow this beach is. So there's like a sandbar that sort of extends right the way around and almost closes this part of the beach off. So he may have to park the laser over there, or Carlos is having a run down there to see if he can actually get like the laser up onto the beach over there. So a lot going on this morning. We've got pretty much everybody down the bottom here. We're doing a bit of a tidy up. So we've got chaos around the boat. It's been a lot of work the last few weeks actually, and not a lot of tidying up. So we're going to get the guys to have a go at getting the underside of the boat just a bit clean. So we've got some clean workspace. Birk has been organising the engine room. But this morning, once we've got the boat clean, we're going to get into a couple of different jobs simultaneously.
Next episode we continue on with pre-launch jobs, getting ready for the new solar panels. Birk gets our transducer and lots of other jobs done. Margaux and Dame sort out a little leak in our fiberglass dinghy. And Dame and Birk do the last work on the hull, it's watertight. And sharing a meal during a work day is one of the best things ever. Thanks for your amazing cooking, Carlos.